Hello all of you lovely creatures, this is Bea Harper from supermarcy.com and welcome back to Halloween. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit different for this particular year. See, I'm trying to look at films that deal with the LGBT base, the orientation, and it has been rather difficult, and you know, that's pretty much foreseeable. I mean, it's a very sort of ignored genre, but I'm trying really hard to find films that deal with it in a horror context, I should add. So please don't despair. I will try my hardest to deliver. So in the meantime, while this film doesn't necessarily deal with gay and homoerotic genre in terms of the particulars of it, I wanted to select a film that has a very unique leaning towards sexuality, and the fact that it was directed by a female director. This film is Embrace of the Vampire, starring Alyssa Milano and one half of Spandau Ballet's Martin Kemp. Now, Embrace of the Vampire essentially is a softcore horror film, right? Because ask any sort of pervert who has seen this movie, and they will tell you that this film is pretty much what made them a man. Because Alyssa Milano shows off her beautiful, natural boobs. And yes, I can call them beautiful because they are. So, the plot. What plot? Anyway, Alyssa Milano is a virgin and she attends a co-ed college. Now, she is being stalked in the shadows by a vampire. And what this vampire wants is that he needs a virgin to have sex with in order to stay alive. In order for him to continue through his altered lifespan. So within 3 days he needs to have sex with Alyssa Milano's character, and the vampire, I should say, is played by Martin Kemp. So yeah, that is the essential sort of base of the story, if you can call it that. Now, the director of the film, Anne Gossaud, or Gossaud I should say, I find that it's unique, considering, as I said, this film is, in a sense, softcore pornography, but it has a story, and Alyssa Milano is a very sort of likable actress, and she's a sweetie. So, how to describe this? Gossaud is able to, she's able to harness the conventional male gaze, as well as the fact of putting the female gaze into the story. And by that, I mean she's able to film the sex scenes in the movie with such a way that it doesn't alienate the female viewer. Because there is a very sort of penultimate sequence that, like I said, any pervert will tell you about. That Alyssa Milano's character has a lesbian encounter with Charlotte Lewis, who's a photographer. Now, that's sort of like that's the sort of scene that, you know, guys will love, and like their girlfriends are probably like sort of thing. But Gossaud is able to sort of film the sequence, like the lead up, the build up, and the result in such a way that it doesn't really sort of put the female audience like directly into the corner. Now, here's the thing. Embrace of the Vampire could be considered a supernatural romance because there's very little sort of a horror action going on amongst the actual action, if you know what I mean. So I'm not sure if you could actually call it a horror. It has some blood, it has, I guess, some attempt at trying to build up a supernatural gothic atmosphere, but a lot of it really does come down to sex. And there's quite a lot of sex in this movie. Mostly involving Alyssa Milano's character. You see, she has a very, very patient boyfriend who she wants to get together with, but she has her own reservations about. Now, what the vampire is trying to do is like to make her not have sex with anyone else but him, because, as I said, he needs to have a virgin for some strange reason. So But that sort of like brings me to another point, based on the Charlotte Lewis / Alyssa Milano sex scene. Like, it is a sex scene. It is a lesbian encounter, and we see hands going down, down south and doing stuff. Now, does the word virgin apply to the technical sense that it must be a male phallus that penetrates her? Because the way I figure it, like, after that encounter, like, Alyssa Milano's character is no longer a virgin. She has been made a woman. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if this film has any sort of bearing on the rules that it supposedly sets itself. Because at that point, Milano's character would have been useless to the vampire. Now, in terms of the more female gaze aspect, a lot of it comes down to the vampire himself. The way the vampire is shown is to be like a romantic figure, as some vampires are liable to be portrayed as. Look, it doesn't establish that he's in love with Milano's character. He wants her. She is essential to his existence. So it really is ambiguous and untoward if he could love her. Because how can a vampire love? A vampire is not a human. It doesn't have the same emotional chemicals in its mind and in its body, for that matter, to establish a romantic, intimate human connection. So, in saying that, you can probably guess that Embrace of the Vampire is not a good movie. It's quite shoddily put together. It doesn't look good. It goes for the whole sort of soft lens thing with the love scenes and that sort of thing, but make no mistake, it's a very sort of, it's Cinemax. It's Skinmax, if you want to put it that way, that you sort of show on, late night television. There's no really redeeming production values about the movie. The story, if you could call it a story, it doesn't even stack up to what it could have been. Would I say it's better than Twilight? Yeah, anything is better than Twilight. But look, I think this film could have been better if there was given more material to work with beyond, the nubile female form. But the way it is now, it's nothing to write home about, unless you're like 13 years old and you happen to be a male, or if you're a lesbian. Like, if you are a lesbian, I think you might get a kick out of this movie. It's all subjective, and you may not like it as much as, say, your neighbour does, but again, like, the way the film approaches the male gaze, it doesn't make a mission to get the female audience and sort of like shove them into the cave. It's interesting, but it's a very, very failed and flawed experiment of a movie. I'm glad that Alyssa Milano's career hasn't like sunk after that movie. Granted, she hasn't always been like in the mainstream as an actress, but she is lovely to see, and it's good for her to sort of like this movie was her version of saying, you know what, I'm not the little girl from Who's the Boss anymore, okay? I'm going to take off my clothes and you're going to see me as the woman I know I am. And she succeeds in that. And if, she's secure in her body, and it's great that she did that. But, yeah, this film really serves no other purpose than to titillate. But I can't believe I laughed at my own joke. So yeah, Embrace the Vampire, not a good movie, but has a very sort of interesting perspective about how it films a love scene between a man and a woman and a woman. And the eagle-eyed among you will know that Jennifer Tilly turns up in a very small yet surprisingly entertaining role as a seductress who tries to, wayside Alyssa Milano's boyfriend character. So she was really nice to see, and yeah, her boobs are nice too. Alright, so Embrace of the Vampire, I give that 2.5 out of 5. As I said, there's nothing special about it. It's not good. It's not good. It's not a good movie. But I didn't find it offensive. I didn't find it, to be a reason for me to clutch my pearls, that sort of thing. It really depends on if you see something you like in the movie, if it appeals to you. So, yeah, Base of the Vampire, whatever, from me. It didn't really do anything for me, but again, I can appreciate a good-looking woman. I can appreciate a good-looking woman's confidence. I can appreciate confidence in general. So, in saying that, that concludes my addle-brained review. And hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, I will find a bevy of films that deal with LGBT. But in the meantime, I would like to give a bit of a heads up for my next review. Now, I'm gonna let it right out the gate here. I'm gonna be reviewing Wes Craven's Last House on the Left. Now, that's got nothing to do with the theme that I'm trying to impose on this month, but it deals with, essentially, as you know, rape is a crime of hatred, of power, and it's something that affects us all. It's not just the female sex. It isn't just, it doesn't just happen to the white female population that you hear about in the media. It's a hate crime. So my recommendation to you is brace yourselves, and if that subject matter offends you, I will not hold it against you if you do not want to watch the video. I don't know how far I'm going to get, but I'm going to try and be as objective and serious as I possibly can. So until that day, bless you, mwah, and I shall see you later. Bye bye.